Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between ApmLive and IdrA here on Glaive, left side of the map. It is the red Protoss player, ApmLive, and at the top side of the map it is the teal Terran player, IdrA. I don't know who ApmLive is, but apparently it was a plugin of some kind for Brood War. That's what my Google search revealed when I Googled it just a couple of minutes ago. But hey, it's got 600 APM. Maybe it's a bot? A bot of some kind? Man, I don't know. Alright, we'll find out. We'll find out how this works. I mean, IdrA's cruising at 600 APM right now. He is a high APM player. But it's going to be a TVP here with IdrA, which I have not cast many of. I realize most of the stuff I've cast from IdrA is TVZ. I have a lot of those. I do actually have some longer TVTs, which I think would be really fun. If you're here for IdrA Rage, I'm going to tell you that statistically, he hasn't raged in most of the replays of his that I've cast. He has definitely in some situations. There was one against Yunbin where he had some things to say. There was a match that he played where there were a lot of observers. In Control was one of them. And it was a TVP, and IdrA raged at the end of that game. Oh boy. So maybe here in a TVP, with a bit of a longer of a macro style thing, against some ApmLive entity, we might get some IdrA rage rather. I don't know. I don't watch these in advance. Ain't nobody got time for that. I have 3 kids. I have a full-time job. I need to take care of a house, for heaven's sakes. And I cast a lot of StarCraft, and I stream all the time too, which, by the way, twitch.tv/FalconPaladin. It's a good place to go if you want to see Falcon doing stuff off of YouTube, playing other games. He's been playing some Halo recently. He's been playing some X-Wing Alliance, some StarCraft 2 if you're into watching me play StarCraft 2 and fail miserably. Yeah, it's a good time. Twitch.tv/FalconPaladin. I'm honestly there probably more days than I should be considering all of the obligations that I have in my life, but we're keeping our head above water. That's the whole plan. Probe comes in for the harassment on Glaive. Blah, 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 blah. SCV is done, thankfully, for IdrA. He doesn't have much reason to rage. He will win that fight as an SCV, because SCVs can't regen their health like drones and probes can. Look at this. Look at this. The APMs have dropped significantly for both players. So we're not going to sit here at 600 APM the entire game. Without question, that is not happening. 350 seems to be more the order of the day, which is just fine for some high-level StarCraft. Yeah, so it's IdrA, right? You clicked on this because you know IdrA's name, because you're expecting some rage, but he's also a good player. That's the trick here. There are some contemporary StarCraft 2 players who are known for their rage issues, but they suck. Like, I mean, they're not bronze or anything. They're not like the lowest level of StarCraft, but they are not at IdrA's level. IdrA, a good player. I mean, he never won WCG or anything crazy like that, but he held his own. He got some wins against some really nice players. And I would put him as a top level, maybe the second to the highest level of StarCraft Brood War player back in the day. He was fine. He was a great foreigner. Okay, he wasn't a Korean, but nobody in the StarCraft Brood War scene who's not a Korean is a Korean. All right? StarCraft 2's done a much better job of that with the region lock, which I didn't agree with at the time, but man, it certainly made foreigner players better at StarCraft than they had been prior to the region lock. There are some foreigner players from Europe, especially, that are right up there and have surpassed all of the Koreans. That's how insane the region lock's effects have been. Anyway, we're rambling. Just going to go right into mech here. No big deal. Making tanks. On the other side, you're getting singularity charge. You've seen this story. Stop me if you've heard this one. Nexus coming up down south here for ApmLive. Again, I don't know who this is. ApmLive, searching that and Brood War is just like, hey, here's this plugin called ApmLive. There's like 5 or 6 results for it. I don't know who was playing under that name in Brood War at the time. IdrA doesn't seem to have any questions about it. What the heck is that? Oh, that's Outlook. Oh, sorry guys, my Outlook window's open. There are like 8 things that I have to close to make sure there's no sound during my casts. And I got Google Calendar, I got Gmail. I forgot to do the other thing. All right, It's fine. Hopefully we won't get any more emails during this cast. We'll be alright. Yeah, I usually don't have Outlook open at home because it's usually an office thing, but since I'm working from home, it's up on this computer. Anyway, Marine tank out here. The Dragoons, they were hoping to pressure a natural base, but there's nothing to pressure. IdrA just didn't give the Dragoons the opportunity. Look at this backdoor sneaky thing you can do. You can't even get trapped in here if the tanks show up. You can sneak around this way and go all the way home, and you're totally fine. It's insane. IdrA trying to put some pressure on the other side against ApmLive, though. All right. Kind of like this. Oh, hang on. He stopped. Maybe he's not doing actual pressure. Maybe it's fake pressure. Anyway, Widow Mines coming on in here. Oh, Spider Mines. Dang it, I haven't done that in a while. Spider Mines coming on in here from IdrA. Natural base landing quite nicely about the time that APM gets his natural running, so no one's behind at the stage, I don't think. Although, again, the longer this game goes on, the more the Protoss needs to expand. Needs to basically Zerg the Terran player here. Expand a bunch, because a 3-basing Terran is extremely hard to deal with if you only have 3 bases yourself as Protoss. It's just the natural order of things. This is one of the earlier pushes I've ever seen attempted, though. Look at this from IdrA. He's just absolutely pushing on these Dragoons. This is some really nice kiting out of ApmLive. It's hard to do. Day9 actually has a whole video on this, I think. The concept of having Dragoons out and then kiting tanks as they're coming to try to kill you about this stage of the game. So it's common enough that Day9 had a video on it. I just don't see it a lot in the macro games that I cast. But yeah, this is some good pressure out of IdrA. I'm going to take down a pylon that ApmLive is supply blocked by losing. Spider Mine's getting tossed up here, so if you try to jump on top of the tanks, you're going to have a bad time. But Zealot bombs! Zealot bombs on the tanks. And look at that. ApmLive holds it. Dragoons dealt with the Vultures pretty effectively. The tanks are all gone. The Zealots are actually still alive. That's bonkers. Oh, jeez. All right, that Dragoon's dead. Ow. I can't even run away because you might drag them into the probes, and then suddenly your probes all die. The probes themselves won't trigger, but if you're a Dragoon and you walk over here and the Spider Mine activates on you when you're next to the probes are all dead. Reaver, 1 shot, 1 kill. On the Vultures. And then IdrA is using the same path to retreat that ApmLive did just a couple of minutes ago. Third base coming up here, which the Vultures do end up scouting. I think they would have preferred maybe to try to shut that down if they could have. But look at this. More Vultures coming in. This is maybe the most aggressive I've ever seen IdrA in the early stages of a PvT. This is kind of awesome out of him. Look at this. The Vultures are like, we got you. We'll take you down. Hey, you want to come over here? Wait. Never done. Okay, well, you can't come over here because there's Spider Mines. Enjoy. On the other side, we're getting turrets up because we recognize there are shuttles out as they recently dropped Zealots on the tanks. Just bad news bears. Citadel of Dune coming in. Additional factories on the way from IdrA because, of course, there are. Because we're meching straight up meching the whole way. Because what else are you going to do against Protoss? Spider Mine. See? That's what I'm talking about. Spider Mine fired on that Dragoon, and the splash damage killed a bunch of the probes, too. It's 40 to 31 workers at this moment in time. IdrA, with that one hit, I think maybe he just made all of his attack totally worth it. Oh, hang on. Reaver trying to get some stuff done, but does get shoved away. Oh, by the turret, but now the turret's gone. Reaver shot, trying to get some of these. Oh, it's getting stuck on the minerals. Stuck on the minerals. What a time. The shuttle gets wiped out, and the Reaver's going to die, but not before getting an SCV. I think that was probably 1. Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. They're kind of stacked up in there. It's hard to tell. But it is 40 to 34 workers in favor of IdrA, which is not boding well for our Protoss player right now. He has more bases, which is good, but the worker count is not super healthy. And I think IdrA might actually be in a pretty decent spot here. He's got a great economy. Can probably set up a 3rd base over here if he wanted to. There are some Dragoons out, yes, and they are kind of scary. They've got the range upgrade. They have an Observer now, so they can pick off Spider Mines as necessary. Templar Archives in production. And silence reigns over the battlefield. I think it's the first true break we've had in the game since the action started. Pretty early. I mean, that Dragoon pressure was real. The counterattack by IdrA continued on in there. Feel like we're going for Arbiters, because what else are you going to do, honestly, against an entrenched Terran player like this is recall. A couple DTs in production. I'm watching for an Arbiter Tribunal, but you need a fleet beacon for that. So... Not the Templar Archives, though. On the other side, anything surprising at all from IdrA? I mean, I guess there's a dropship moving out with a couple tanks. That's kind of surprising. Is there an area you can drop tanks? Maybe right here? I mean, there's really nothing else. Like, dropping right here is totally viable, too, if you want to kill some probes. So the Vultures are trying to sneak down this way and just make sure there are no Dragoons coming to respond to this. This observer placement, though, right on top of these factories, recognizing, okay, it's nothing but tanks and Vultures coming out of IdrA here is good information to have. Not that ApmLive is going into carriers or anything like that. He's still making Zealots, still making Dragoons. The dropship is coming on down this right side, but there is a shuttle now with DTs. And the probe pool is beautiful. And the DT defense is sick. Can ya kill the DTs before they kill your tank? No, ya cannot do it. But one of the DTs got wiped out before getting picked up in the shuttle. And the probes are kind of coming back in, which I don't know that I agree with this ApmLive. Suddenly, these probes are getting wiped out. Dude, IdrA might just be outclassing ApmLive here. It's 40 probes. So many probes have died for ApmLive. It's almost unfair. There are 7 kills on that Vulture. 7 kills. Any sign of a third base from IdrA? The answer is no. Stargate on the way. Okay. You also need a Stargate if you're going to make Arbiters. There are so many tech pieces you have to make Arbiters. It's the weirdest tech tree. It's the weirdest tech path of any unit in StarCraft, I think. Arbiters. It requires so many things. Going for Observer Movement upgrade. Another dropship in production. He's like, that drop was pretty successful. I say we try it again. 120 to 112 total supply. IdrA has the lead. Still on 2 bases, mind you. Just kidding. A third base now getting started on that left side. Big drop inside the main. Trying to get some stuff done, but there's only 1 kill on that tank, and he's toast. So pretty well defended there. The drop play. You don't usually see drop play from Terran against Protoss, but IdrA has that on his mind today. Strangely enough, I'm not sure exactly what's encouraging him to do that, other than he thinks he outclasses ApmLive, and he's styling on them a little bit. Seems possible. Double armory coming in. Do we not have? We don't have upgrades yet. Okay, so IdrA's upgrades have not been great. You know what? ApmLive has no upgrades either. Never mind. Hey, look! An Arbiter Tribunal is on the way. Huzzah! We made it. Did I say... man, it is such a crazy tech path. I get it confused. You don't need a fleet beacon. Wait, do you? I assume once you have the Arbiter Tribunal up, you can make Arbiters. It would make a lot of sense, but again, it's a weird tech path. Pylon, Stargate not making Arbiters. Bit of a push out here from ApmLive, just decides not to move in. Third base done for IdrA, has an idle SCV there, but again, that happens to the best of us. Stasis being researched. Bit of a drop here from IdrA. And the Vultures should be able to handle this. Never mind. There's a million Zealots. Okay, so never mind. The Vultures are dead. Excellent. Very good stuff. Hey, quick plug at this point in the thing for Dodger. Dodger is a loyal subscriber of my channel for a long time. He watches me on Twitch, and he accrued enough Twitch points to get a shout out for his Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Dodger724. I'll put a link to him in the description. So please check him out. He loves Brood War. He requested specifically to get shouted out during a Brood War cast. So give him a try. Dodger, great dude, really nice, really friendly. Check him out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dodger724. You will not regret it, I promise you. Another drop attempt here. I mean, he's killed this tank once or twice, I believe. Or he's killed this cannon once or twice, I believe. There's spider mines all in here. Getting hits off. This is kind of what I like about these foreigner games, is they're a little bit sloppy. Right? They're a little bit sloppier than average Korean games here. Hey, look, it is an arbiter, and we don't have a fleet beacon. Okay, so fleet beacon is just for carriers. And for upgrades for scouts, if you're into that kind of a thing, which nobody is. Okay, so at this stage, it feels kind of even, except for the fact that IdrA's on 3 bases and ApmLive are on 3 bases. Does anyone have upgrades yet? Still no upgrades for anybody. They're both kind of working on them, though, which is nice. Mech upgrades are just about done level 1 here for IdrA. And +1 attack is coming in for ApmLive. It is common for Protoss players just to get the attack upgrades and not worry about anything else. Just because tanks do so much damage, it doesn't mitigate much of anything to get the +1 or +2 armor upgrades. So Arbiter out, Recall being researched is a fairly long upgrade, takes some time to get here. Another Stargate is coming up, and it looks like ApmLive is going to be going for dem recalls sooner rather than later. But IdrA is taking a 4th base at the same time that ApmLive is. The 4th base is actually going to be done, and it is, and landed. Actually, hold on a second. This area is controlled by ApmLive. And as a result, you need to get out of there. And he is. He's getting out. ApmLive just happened to be attacking this area and actually has some vision over here, too, because of the observer. So maybe it was more of a calculated style of an attack right now. Attack from the north, though. IdrA going for a flank attack on APM's aggression, which is insane. Another expansion from ApmLive. I'm liking it. He's looking more and more Zergy as the game goes on right now. Which, again, is what you gotta do. Protoss, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when Terran comes for you? Well, you're gonna get Storm, I guess, but also you're gonna expand a whole bunch. I think you can sneak, dude. I don't know. IdrA's kind of in a position to protect this, but I mean, can you jump on this command center and kill it before the Terran response stops you from doing it? You're probably going to lose all of your Dragoons. Yes. It's a fair point. Absolutely. But is it worth it to snipe this CC? And honestly, I kind of feel like it would be. I like this observer placement. IdrA's not done a fantastic job of sniping observers. I think there's probably one here that died. But other than that, this is some really nice vision ApmLive is working with. Again, I don't know who this is, but they're a pretty decent Protoss player. I'm going to say that. Does not appear to be transitioning into carriers anytime soon, based on the High Templar production and the Storm we're getting right now. And this is where the mech army is getting real scary. +1 attack tanks with +2 on the way. When you hear 17 siege tanks going, that's a really bad sieging sound. You just get out of there. I mean, I don't care how much Protoss you have. I guess if you had more Protoss than you could get with the supply limit, yes, but oh jeez. All right, so Storm on all these units. Zealots getting wiped out. There were enough Vultures here. I'm not sure if there are any more, though. And suddenly the Zealots are jumping on top of the tanks. The Dragoons are being adequately buffered by said Zealots, but reinforcements for IdrA coming down from the north, causing huge problems. No such reinforcements from the south here out of ApmLive. And he was looking pretty good, but he has got to be in full retreat right now. Here we go. Finally getting some Zealots on up. Getting some nice Storms down. Again, these are really nice Storms, plus the Arbiter providing some protection in the form of Cloak for these units. This is an intense little match right now. I'm enjoying it. He barely manages to hold this off. He doesn't have scans available. Oh, he's stasised a few of these tanks. He'd like to keep them. He'd like to have these 4 tanks alive when they come out of stasis. But I don't know, man. That's a lot of Zealots. That Arbiter going to get sniped by a Goliath and all the chaos right now. High Templar sitting in here with not enough energy for anything, but the tanks coming out of stasis getting focused down by ApmLive's units, and bam. All right, so I think that tank was in stasis, right? So maybe one of the tanks managed to stay alive, but the other ones are gone. I mean, both players were maxed out before that started, and now we're at 123 supply each. That is how intense that last battle was. ApmLive, again, happily sitting on his 5 bases to the 4 bases of IdrA. I still feel like he needs more. The cost efficiency of these battles are definitely going to trend in favor of IdrA over time. It's not a guarantee, but assuming both players are pretty even in skill, and it kind of seems like we are here. If we can make it to a 20-minute point in a game like this, it generally means the players are pretty even in skill. Nice sniping on those probes. Another probe is going to die. The vultures have been insanely good at finding probes, finding vulnerable workers, and shutting them down. Also, really good against zealots. There are 2 cannons in this bottom right-hand base, so the vultures will die pretty quickly, but not before taking a couple probes with them. It's only 52 probes. Like, remember back earlier when it was like 40 probes? And now it's at 21 minutes, and we're suddenly at 52 probes? That's not great. That is actually pretty bad for ApmLive. IdrA, a million more tanks are out. He's got his +2 attack. Here comes some stasis, though. And by that I mean there's absolutely not any stasis at all, because the Arbiters don't have enough energy yet. But the Archon's doing some good work. Wow, IdrA's army kind of getting wiped out right now. Tanks are showing up, but this is not a good place to be. And suddenly retreating here. IdrA! Protoss! There it is. There's the thing. ApmLive has a question mark. Like, what? Yes, I'm Protoss. Congratulations, you figured it out. God, that's such an Artosis thing to say, too, isn't it? It's just Protoss when you lose an engagement. The spirit of IdrA kind of lives on in Artosis. Let's be honest, it does. ApmLive's up 154 to 107 total supply. Are you kidding right now? I see you, Observer. Really wants to make sure this base doesn't get taken, that IdrA doesn't sneak it up on him. Oh no, the great probe massacre of 2020. Ow, my gosh, so many probes are dying in this game. IdRA's doing a great job with it. You'll notice ApmLive is not coming back with the incredible sick comeback Terran. No, he's not doing that. He's not balance whining here. And I respect ApmLive for that. A lesser Protoss would say Terran in that situation. It's got to be so frustrating to lose that many workers. We're back down to 52 probes, by the way. Still, only 10 more probes than we had about, 12 minutes ago, it feels like, at this stage of the game. EMP on the way. IdrA probably should have had that a while ago, but hey, what do you do? Still up 162 to 129 supply. But these vultures are buying all of the time. Another probe transfer! Ill-advised, mind you. An ill-advised probe transfer. I don't know why these vultures keep coming down this way. I guess maybe they can get some damage done before they all die, because they are going to all die. But IdrA's buying some time. He was down big time. About 50 supply, but these vultures bought him the time that he needed to make a bunch more tanks, get some more upgrades, work on EMP, get a couple Goliaths out to deal with these annoying Arbiters. And now ApmLive is only up about 25 supply instead of 50, so IdrA's done a good job with that. ApmLive consolidating all of his forces in here. He's got +2 attack and +1 armor. 2-2 is now done for IdrA with +3 attack coming in. So never mind. Remember I was like, Protoss doesn't usually like to get armor upgrades? Well, ApmLive totally does. By the way, APMs are around 200 now, so they were spamming hard in the early stages. Recall! Recall! Here at IdrA's 4th base. And gonna bring the army in. A lot of SCVs are gonna die. We only have, 49 SCVs remaining to 60 probes. ApmLive has been replacing his workers pretty effectively today. It's very impressive. Everybody here is dead, though, because a billion siege tanks showed up to try to deal with these Dragoons. And they have enough scans to do it. Also, there's a science vessel, so scans aren't even necessary at this point. The question is, you're forced to lift off on the command center. You killed some SCVs. You lost a whole ton of Dragoons. Was it worth it? We'll check this action out. It's 186 to 125 total supply. It is a massive lead for ApmLive right now. He's got 60 to 45 workers. IdrA has an army, but it's not exactly the giant army you'd expect at 25 minutes from a good Terran player. He's taken some hits to his economy. He has taken some losses in the open field here. And ApmLive has no interest in going carriers. He just doesn't. He would have done it by now if he was going to do it. Of course, as usual, the trick there is the Terran player already has the infrastructure needed to just go into Mass Goliath. So it's not like you can sneak up on him, but if he sees your carrier production and goes start Mass Goliath, he can make those faster than you can make carriers. And then suddenly you're in a really bad way, unless it's a good map for carriers, but this one is not. I mean, there are no... I guess that's part of it, right? There's a lot of open ground. There are very few places, high ground, to hide carriers on this map. Here's one, I guess. Did he get... Oh, it did another drop on the right side, or left side. Did he... Oh, he just stormed the crap out of a bunch of SCVs. Dang it! Storm dropping! My rambling about the viability of carriers on this map. Ridiculous, Falcon. You must focus on your observation requirements and responsibilities. You got this thing. Hit that like button, by the way. This has been a pretty entertaining TVP. I gotta say, the back and forth's been really nice. IdrA games, as a rule, are generally pretty entertaining. Like, I gotta say, I don't think I've cast a boring IdrA game. Whoa! Here we go! Alright, he's like, hey, the tanks are unsieged. Get it. Storm the tanks. Wipe them out. Get zealots on top of those siege boys. Where are the vultures? We don't care. Let's get in there further. The vultures do come and do show up here, but that tank count effectively just got reset. There's 3 more tanks coming from the left side, but it's 150 to 78 total supply right now. The Goliaths are trying to snipe down the Arbiters at the moment. They get one of them. The High Templar are pretty much useless at the stage, but the tanks can't see anything. There's a scan, but it's too late. The tanks are all gone. And that's it. How can you sleep at night, says IdrA. He hates the Protoss. ApmLive has a response. It's very measured. It's very mature. It's very neutral and non-confrontational. He says, dude, I think you can wipe out this base, and that just wins the game. I don't know, says ApmLive. He thought about that question. He did. He was like, IdrA asked me a serious question about my sleep patterns and habits. And I have an answer for him, and that is, I don't know. This game. Ah, you IdrA Ragers, you got what you came for. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it's like hitting gold, hitting pay dirt. ApmLive could have wiped his base out. There was a window there where he could have done that. Just chose not to for reasons. IdrA's got 2 tanks, which doesn't seem ample. Maybe, okay, he's got 3, but not in this location. It's a maxed out ApmLive. Artosis would agree with IdrA here, by the way. Hey, look, IdrA has this base. I don't know if there's a comeback avenue here for IdrA or not. I'm going to sidle up to no as my answer here. It's just too much. Although ApmLive is really allowing IdrA to rebuild right now. ApmLive is maxed out. He's made no pushes on anything for the last 2 minutes. Ah, he's recalling. He's really trying to make IdrA bad. That's just mean, says IdrA. Before the recall happens, IdrA sees it. He's got map awareness. And IdrA rage quits. This isn't IdrA replay. So when he leaves the replay, it's over. So that's the rage quit scenario. Wow. Holy smokes, that was crazy. What an absolutely crazy, crazy game. ApmLive is like, I beat you fair and square, but if you're going to whine about it, I'm just going to drop your main and make you rage quit. And IdrA did. He never, again, there was a window for ApmLive to wipe out this base. Didn't do it. There was a window for APM to come up here and do stuff. Didn't do it. He's just like, I'm just going to take the middle and try to sneak an arbiter up and around and drop you in the main, and then you'll be sad. And then you'll leave without me having to win another battle. It's easier for me, he says. Hilarious. God, that was so good. Again, IdrA killed a lot of probes in that game. I think he did a fantastic job killing probes. But it wasn't enough to win the big engagements, and that's where you're going to fall short against a Protoss player who knows what they're doing. 214,000 points there for ApmLive, 177,000 for IdrA. APM's averaged about 247 to 289. IdrA had the higher APM, but it's nowhere near the 600 they were spamming at the beginning. 553 Terran units produced a 371, and APM won, man. Killed more units than IdrA did. IdrA lost a ton. That's an interesting number there. He lost 393, but ApmLive only killed 332. Is that like friendly fire spider mines killing your stuff? Both players losing a bunch of buildings. ApmLive out-macroed IdrA, which again, you have to do. He wasn't as aggressive about it as I've seen from other Protoss, but he did. He had more bases up on IdrA for the most part. Mine more gas, mine more minerals, spent, my goodness, a full 8,000 more resources than IdrA did. But again, that's what you have to do. You have to zerg it. You have to make more stuff and lose a bunch of stuff. And that's it. The recipe was complete. All right, cool. Well, that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.